Hello, this is Insane Monster here with the beginning part of What If Luffy merged with Incursio. And yes, this is Incursio from Akima ga Kill, but I'm using the real Incursio, not the one from the anime. The same kind of situation happened for the Akime ga Kill anime in the same aspects as Full Metal Alchemist and Hellsing Ultimate, where they finished the anime before the manga was finished. So the endings are drastically different, as well as the abilities and transformation of Incursio. For starters, Incursio doesn't have that awful golden form. If you want to know the actual forms and stuff and such of the real Incursio, then I'll leave a couple of links down below that are under real Incursio pick links. Look at them and see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'll wait for a moment, then I'll continue. Going now. Okay, if you paused and went go check, then you know what we're working with, the real Incursio. Now, as for Incursio's powers itself, it has the ability to 1. Summon a spear, though given Luffy, he won't use it really that often. Next, we have Incursio's ability to adapt by evolving itself in order to become stronger, depending on the environment it's in or what Incursio is facing. Basically, it overcomes weaknesses or drawbacks from different environments that it's in by adapting to it by just evolving itself to resist the certain aspects of what's causing it to either get harmed or stop it from, or threatening its survival. That's actually how Incursio got its invisibility ability from being hunted down by people who wanted it to kill it to make the Incursio sword to begin with. It gained the ability of turning invisible by adapting through evolving itself and such. Now before the actual what if begins, hit it. Now then, as you might be asking, are there other Imperial arms? Yes, but they're kind of scattered about. Some have been destroyed, some are lost, and others are stored in all kinds of vaults forgotten about due to the fact of having trouble finding a compatible user. However, the Inocentius sword is currently in the hands of Dragon, Luffy's father. After Luffy was born, and knowing what he'd have to do to send his son away so that he'd be safe, he thought it might be a good idea to send the Inocentius sword with him. Though, in this kind of world, given the insane kind of science that they have, not to make cola-powered cyborgs, not to mention giving having actual weapons eat devil fruits, Dragon ends up more or less checking if Luffy is compatible with the sword. However, what he finds from the device that was made by the government that they stole, since they're the Revolutionary Army, he finds that Luffy's a complete and perfect match for it. He ends up deciding something very drastic, thinking that Garp might take the sword and give it back to the world government, and he wanted Luffy to make sure he had it. So he decided to merge the sword of Innocentius with his body, due to the fact that the dragon creature that Innocentius was forged from is actually still alive in there. It was possible. Now it's not even a sword anymore. However, Luffy's appearance slightly changed. The ends of his hair turned red, and one of his eyes turned red with a cross mark as his pupil in his eye. After sending him away, Garp saw Luffy's appearance and figured out what his father did, saying, "Damn it, Dragon, would you really go this far? Do you know how dangerous this is?" Luffy's mother, don't know who it is, asks Dragon, was that the correct thing to do? As Dragon just smirked, saying, "If he's my son, he'll be just fine." As Luffy grows up, people noticed his odd eye and the tips of his hair being red, but but the world's full of all kinds of strange stuff given the legend of devil fruits and everything. Luffy still ends up meeting Shanks at his home village, and once the mountain bandits disrespect him, with Luffy getting pissed, for a second Luffy thought he felt something creeping on his back. Though when he looked behind, he saw nothing. When Shanks' crew kind of messed with him, he just got even more mad and ate the devil fruit that was in the chest out of being angry. Once they noticed this, Shanks tried to force him to spit it out, but it was too late. He became a rubber man, telling him that he's a dumbass because now he can't swim. With Luffy yelling, "What?" Later on, Luffy, as obvious, goes back to try to attack the bandits again, though it didn't go quite well. The leader of the bandits was able to get away from Luffy as Shanks and his crew slaughtered his men. Going out to sea, he tossed Luffy in the sea, trying to swim out, but failing. He couldn't swim anymore, but Shanks was able to save him. The mountain bandit was eaten by the Sea King, and in protecting Luffy, Shanks lost his arm, but Luffy freaking out, saying, "Shanks, your arm!" Seeing that the Sea King was coming near, he hears something. As time felt like it stood still, he saw a monster, saying, "Let me take over you. Let me have your body. Let me live again." As he could still feel the dread from the Sea King coming at them, attempting to eat both Luffy and Shanks, as well as this thing in front of him saying that he wants to take over his body. He panics and then yells out, "No! Stop!" In that moment, Luffy unconsciously uses Conqueror's Haki, causing it just went full throttle, causing the Sea King to foam at the mouth, passing out. As for Innocentius, it felt the pressure of the Conqueror's Haki. It was something he never experienced before. He feared it. At this point, Luffy's accidental Conqueror's Haki ended up forcing Innocentius to submit to Luffy. After this, Luffy passed out. As Shanks looked down, he saw his hair turn bright red, and his other eye changed to match the the one that was already red with a cross pupil. Once he woke up, Shanks was getting his crew all ready with his ship being stocked up with supplies to leave. Luffy hurried up and ran, asking Shanks, "Where are you going?" Shanks told him that he has to leave now. As he patted him on the head, he noticed something. Two little horns covered up by his hair. And when he looked up, he saw something. He saw the creature that was used to make Inocentius staring down at Asta, breathing heavily. Though he knew it wasn't really there, but he can tell that this wasn't just some kind of imagination or hallucination or some kind of illusion. He just knew it. He would expect something like this to go after Luffy, but instead, it bowed his head to Luffy. Shanks understood. He knows a bit about multiple Imperial arms that are out in the world. Finally recognizing the pattern in Luffy's eyes, as well as this monster from old stories. He realizes what is inside Luffy, and also realizes that that burst of Conqueror's Haki caused it to submit to Luffy's will, making it subservient to him. If you don't know what that word means, basically it's willingly serving Luffy now, inside of him. Shanks smirks, taking his straw hat and giving it to Luffy, telling him that when he becomes a great pirate, he can return it to him. But until then, make sure to keep it safe. And they ended up parting ways. After that, Garp came over to pick up Luffy to bring him somewhere. Surprised by how he looked, he asked Luffy how he ended up like that. Luffy just said, "I don't know. I was almost eaten by a sea king and then I passed out. Next thing I knew, I woke up with my hair completely red and my eyes are like this. Though it looks pretty cool though, don't you think, Grandpa?" With Garp just thinking, what the hell? He ended up talking to the chief of the village, and he told him what happened. How the Sea King just suddenly passed out, foaming at the mouth when Luffy yelled out no. Garp had an idea of what happened to him, though he wasn't really sure. So he just took Luffy and brought him to the Dawn. With the Dawn and the others being pissed that they now have to watch over Luffy, even though that they are already watching over Ace, who's a nightmare to them. Though Garp is just cracking his knuckles, threatening them, and them just complying with his request, because they do not want to piss him off. Of course, Ace and Luffy still have that rough patch, though this time when Luffy's trying to get food from the bandits, he's just tossing the bandit that restrained him from getting some food right through a wall, with Luffy making sure he gets plenty of food. Which some of the bandits aren't really happy about, especially the one that Luffy threw through a wall. When Luffy went to chase Ace, he every now and then he was able to keep up pretty well, to Ace's surprise. When ever later on, he did end up meeting Sabo, as well as finding out about their little tree hideout. A few times while they were training and such, Luffy did fall in the water and almost drown, though time after time it started to lessen, until the point Luffy was able to swim again. He didn't understand what was going on. He thought since he ate a devil fruit, he wasn't able to swim anymore. Though while in the water like that, his gum powers, he couldn't use them. So basically, while he's in the sea, he can't stretch. He can't stretch anymore, which they found kind of weird, but also pretty awesome. With Sabo and Ace remarking that Luffy's eyes look pretty epic, with him smirking and such. As time goes on, Ace and Sabo did rob. Whenever Ace and Sabo did rob that pirate or criminal from all of his money and ended up catching Luffy, they did tie him up and such, starting to hit him with a hammer, but didn't work because of his rubber body, so they used spiked gloves. After so much time of beating, Luffy evolved again to regain a type of resistance to spikes or piercing attacks, though that doesn't mean he's immune to it. If it's strong enough, he can still get stabbed. Until Luffy was rescued by Ace, Sabo, and the Don, though the whole gray zone ended up still getting burnt to a crisp. As Sabo decided to go sailing one day while the Celestial Dragons were on their boat near the island, they ended up blasting him. Luffy was furious as he went to try to go attack them. The Don and the others tried to restrain him, though claws and scales began to form on Luffy's hands and feet. They had no choice but to try to knock him out, forcing him into the water, then knocking him out, knowing that his body wasn't rubber anymore while in the sea. Pulling him out, they were able to bring him back. When she woke up, he just started crying. After that, Luffy and Ace began continued training, with Ace telling him about those scales and claws he formed. Luffy didn't really understand, but after some time, he was able to bring them back, to form them on his own. Though he's only able to form them on his hands all the way up to his elbows and his feet up to his knees. That's about the extent of it right now. His physical strength and such are incredible, and he's even learned how to use the invisibility power of Incursio by accident while sparring with Ace. This gave Ace a better chance to train and learn how to sense presences. Not really optical hockey, but more of a lesser kind of thing of that, but nowhere near optical hockey, which is kind of which makes sense training with somebody who can turn invisible. One day Ace left, starting his journey as a pirate, which Luffy was saddened by, though excited for Ace, promising to meet him on the sea one day. After some more time, Luffy kept training more and more to become as strong as possible, with his goal of becoming the Pirate King always in his mind. The day before Luffy left, the Don knew that he was leaving, so decided to ask her men to make something special, which they did, and it was a turducken. If you don't know what that is, basically it's a chicken stuffed inside a duck, stuffed inside a turkey, and then cooked. It's weird, but it also sounds delicious. Then, when the time came, Luffy was old enough to be able to set sail to the sea to begin his journey as a pirate. Though before he left, the Don also took his straw hat and did some adjustments. Due to the little horns on Luffy's head while he was little, they just kept growing and growing, becoming more noticeable. So the Don reweaved his straw hat to allow little openings for his horns to pop through. Though that kind of appearance will be in the link below to the real Incursio pick links that will be in the description below. As they wave goodbye to Luffy and him waving goodbye to them back, he leaves on his journey to become the Pirate King. This is the end of the beginning of this What If. This was part 0 of What If Luffy merged with Inocentius. Now then, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Please remember to hit the notification bell to know when a new video is uploaded and such. And I do hope you enjoyed this. See you later, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.